Guys, it's Kelly. Mari and I are back with another challenge layout. This week we are challenging ourselves to scrapbook a non-person photo. So I feel like I'm kind of cheating here because I have done this for my son and now I'm doing this for my daughter, but I am creating a layout of their school schedule. I find that when they're older, sometimes getting pictures of school-related things are a little bit more difficult. Plus, their schedules are a little bit different. They both have different interests, so their schedules reflect that. So this is just a fun, different way for me to make a back-to-school page, and this will totally not look like a back-to-school page. I showed you a layout created by Maggie Holmes. This layout, I think, was maybe from 2013. So it just goes to show that you can still get inspiration from someone else's layouts that are not necessarily, 1 or 2 years old, but that go back quite a bit. So I went on Pinterest because I wanted to make a page that was a little bit different from what I had been doing lately. I love pattern paper. I love to showcase pattern paper. Frequently, I will do a strip of pattern paper that covers like 1/3 of the page. So maybe 4 inches by 12 inches, or I will, have borders on the top and the bottom, just something that is always showcasing the pattern paper. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I took to Pinterest and I found that layout and I thought, you know what, that's perfect. I am just going to lift that layout because it's not something that I would necessarily create on my own, although I feel like at the end this does look like a layout that I would have created, if that makes sense. So I've pulled out a Felicity Jane kit and I have left this in here so that you can see sometimes that the struggle can be real. I love this green floral paper and I am going to find a way to use it without just fussy cutting the flowers. I will fussy cut the flowers at some point as well with it. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. So here you can see, this was before I went and found the sketch online. And at first I was gonna do something a little bit different by just having my pattern paper be down the middle of the layout. But, I was struggling with it. So this is when I left and I came back inspired after seeing the layout. So one thing you will notice is that my white cardstock is now the pale blue. I challenged myself when I saw that layout to use either, a colored cardstock or a colored pattern paper as my background. So all of the papers that I'm using are from Felicity Jane. Most everything on the layout is from Felicity Jane. If it's not, I will make sure to mention it. So I'm not sure what I'm doing. I probably should have edited this out. I just didn't catch it, so sorry about that. I have been watching Sherlock, so that may have been what was going on. There might have been something that just had caught my attention. So I will say, if you guys have a series on Netflix that you have enjoyed, let me know because I'm almost finished with Sherlock and Netflix is something that's just easy for me to turn on when I'm upstairs. But it needs to be something that I can scrapbook with. If I have to watch it the whole entire time to get things, then, you tell me that in advance because I will still watch it, but I just won't put that on when I am creating pages. You can see I got caught up in it again. So anyway, I have switched out the floral pattern papers from that green to the white, and I really like the way that looks. There's nothing girly about this photo. There's, nothing school-based on the photo. So it just goes to show that you can create a page to your style that does not have to be themed, if that makes sense. It is for my daughter, so I feel like I can use these colors a lot more than if it were for my son. I have used blues and pinks for my son, and I did that just recently with the page that I created for Spiegelmom Scraps. However, the art mural that he was standing in front of and his shirt both had these, pale aquas and pinks. So that particular layout I drew my colors from the photo, but I don't always do that. So at this point, I'm starting to like the layout much better. I'm going to eventually move the white cardstock from behind the blue. I guess I just kept it as a security blanket since most of my layouts are created on white cardstock. So I have decided that I want to also further challenge myself to use my stamps. I have these gorgeous stamps that Jen Scow created for Felicity Jane in her beautiful script, and I am just going to stamp out sophomore, and that is going to be part of my title. I am using VersaFine ink, and I always will stamp off when I am creating titles or if I'm stamping onto my page directly. I do that because of a couple reasons. First, I haven't used the stamps in a while and I want to see how they're stamping. Second, sometimes I find that a stamp won't always take all of the ink on a certain area. And sorry if you could hear Juliet, she just said hello. I cannot do something without a kitty coming to visit. So anyway, I'm stamping out the words, and with her script, she has little, I don't know what the proper term is, little extenders that will help to connect the word. And the R was a little bit funky, but I decided to just go with it. This is handmade. I am creating something. It's not going to be 100% perfect, and for me to be able to let something go is huge, so I'm letting it go when I can. So I decided that I was going to wait and clean up the stamps in just a minute. I'm not going to make you watch me fussy cut this entire word. I do a little bit on screen and then I will take it off, but it did take me maybe 10 or 15 minutes just because I like to make it a clean word so it looks like it's more of a die cut versus more of a stamped image. So I've come back with a few other things pulled that I might want to include on the page. The layout for Maggie Holmes, I believe, had a glassine envelope as well, but that is something that I tend to do frequently. So that was definitely something that I've done before. And as I was looking, I felt like it needed just a little bit more of another design, another paper, and a little bit more pink. And that pink and white diagonal stripe, it almost reads as a solid, or at least it does to me. It was sitting on the side from that same kit, and I decided to pull that in and back the floral paper just to add another paper layer. One thing that I like is a lot of paper layers and a lot of textural interest. So just by, distressing the edges and adding another layer, even though it's like some of the same colors, I feel like has just really made this page a little bit more of who I am, even though I'm directly at this point lifting someone else. So I'm liking the way that this is coming together, and I am going to pull some sequins from my stash. And I also pulled this button. The layout that Maggie Holmes created did not have any buttons, but this button was staring right at me. I think that this was from maybe like a Studio Calico ephemera, little baggy, something Christmas related. And I've just stuck it in with my sequins to keep them together, because I feel like if something comes together, that it's meant to go together, if that makes sense. You don't have to use it that way, but it was created to work well together. So that was why I put it into my sequins like that. So I'm just playing around with the colors that I want to use, and I had a few more pink, but I decided that I only wanted like one little accent of pink. I'd rather have the rest of them be clear, or that, clear white sequin, and I'm just arranging them in a different order, and just in order that's pleasing to my eye. It's not anything that I am trying to do, one white, one pink, one white. It's just, me figuring out what I like and how I like it. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out where I want my title. I had thought maybe I would put it all on that floral pattern paper, but I decided that I would stick part of it on the paper and part of it underneath, just to help keep everything together. So I am going to just use a little bit of adhesive to glue down my sequins. I am going to take them and stitch them off camera. And for me, I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to leave the threads long on that. Not terribly long, and because I stitched them down in white, it's not something that you would necessarily be able to see. On my screen, it's pretty small, so I don't know that you can see it, but it's just something that adds a little bit of visual interest. And, you know, for me, I'd like it when I see other people do it. It's just not something that I have found that has worked with my style, because I'm definitely, I think, more of a clean scrapper. But for this, it worked, and I still feel like I have a clean look, so I was happy with that. I always like to do a little something that's different, because, you know, if you're always doing the same thing, then it's pretty hard to grow creatively. So, you know, this was one of the reasons why I went and just found another layout to lift to drive me out of my comfort zone. So my other kitty now is here, Romeo. So if you can hear him purring, that is who it is. Again, I can't sit down without somebody coming to visit. That black bow is from Freckled Fawn. It came in a kit that was all of black and white goodies, and I thought that it would be perfect. I love bows, and it really brought that bold pop of, not color, because black doesn't have color, but to me, it's like that bold pop that the layout needed, something to, you know, further draw attention to the page. And it also helps to connect the bolder stamp title that I created. So I contemplated putting some thread in the button. Usually if I have a button, I sew it, but because I had sewn through the sequins, I decided not to. So that was something a little bit different for me as well. Usually I feel like they all need, you know, buttons need to be secured in some way, but, you know, again, this is about doing something a little bit out of your creative comfort zone. So if you guys haven't checked out Mari's video, be sure and check hers out. I can't wait to see what she has created. As usual, I will leave a link to her channel. Sorry, that word was escaping me for a second. I will leave a link to her channel below, and you can check hers out. So one other thing that the layout had was a little bit of doodling around the edges. Now, I have doodled before on pages. It's not my first go-to method because I love the look of stitching, but I really liked her journaling around the, you know, all of the paper, but there really isn't much journaling to say. This is her sophomore schedule. You know, this is more of something just to go back and look and, you know, just kind of remember how it was. I couldn't really think of anything that I wanted to say about this. So I just doodled some hearts and some little dots around the edge. And I just picked 3 different areas so that visually it created a triangle around the photo as well. So I was pulling out this Tim Holtz sticker book. This is Small Talk. And I had forgotten that they had black word stickers in the back, and I thought the black would be perfect. It would help to pull in that black bow and the stamped title. So the stickers that I am using, they say do your best, and I put that on the tab. And then I'm going to cut one of the stickers in half because it was too long, and it says you are capable of becoming more than you realize. And then I found a 3rd sticker that said, believe in yourself. And I'm just going to put that right above. So it actually reads, believe in yourself. You are capable of becoming more than you realize. So I thought that was really cool. So if you haven't checked out these stickers, they are from Tim Holtz. And the ones that I am using are called Small Talk. So that's it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.